Good morning, wrestling fans. Today is Friday, November 24th, 2023. Lance Brock here. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in on this Friday morning. Hope everyone is having a good Friday morning so far. And if you're here in the United States, and hope you had a great Thanksgiving yesterday. And if you're out today, if you're one of the people that still go out to the malls or Walmart, Target for the Black Friday deals, hope you have a safe day. And maybe you can listen to this episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans while you are doing your shopping today. And as I said yesterday was Thanksgiving. No new episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, but there was a new episode of 360 Anything Goes, which it's the right day, but did accidentally get released earlier than normal. Normally, the new episodes get released Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Since I was so late and lazy deciding what I wanted to talk about on this week's episode, when I was setting everything up, I forgot to schedule it for the 4 p.m. time, so it just went up as is, but it was just a few hours or so early. And that was this year's Thanksgiving present to all the listeners sorry about that, all the listeners of 360 Wrestling Podcast. Not that anyone enjoyed that present, but and last night was Ring of Honor Wrestling on Honor Club, and of course Impact Wrestling on Access TV. But last night's episode of Impact was not a new original show. They just showed the kind of a best of episode of the turkey suit matches they used to have back in the day with TNA. If you remember, it was an annual Thanksgiving tradition that they would end up having some kind of match where the loser would have to end up wearing the turkey suit. And they also showed from one year where Kurt Angle, when he had the Team Angle, is that what it was called in TNA? Maybe not. I don't think they actually called it Team Angle, but I can't think of what his faction in TNA was called right now. But when he had AJ Styles, Tomko, he had them over for Thanksgiving. Plus, he had other members of the TNA roster. Karen was there at the time, still back when they were still married, and that was a pretty funny segment. And so the whole show was pretty much just those turkey suit matches. I think they did the same thing last year too on Thanksgiving. So Ring of Honor Wrestling on Honor Club was a new original episode last night. And first off, well, I'll save that till I get to the end, actually. And we have some really good wrestling on this show, let me just say. We start things off with a match, a pure wrestling rules match for the Ring of Honor Pure Wrestling Championship. Katsuyori Shibata defending against Trent Beretta. Shibata gets the win, defeating Beretta, and let me just say, this was an awesome match. Especially just for, well, if you can call it a TV match or a streaming match, this was really good. And all I gotta say, match recommendation right here. If you have not, sorry, while this rude truck drives by while I'm trying to do the podcast, and if you have not yet decided to try out Honor Club, maybe even just try it out for a month, watch the weekly TV show, go back, watch some of the Ring of Honor archives, I definitely recommend it, especially this match. Check that out. And another very good match you should check out, this women's four-corner survival match. We have Willow Nightingale taking on Diamante, Kiera Hogan, and Trish Adora. I thought these four women worked really well together in this match. All four of them, well, Willow Nightingale also a big part of AEW too, but the other three have definitely been a big part, mostly of Ring of Honor as of late, but these four have definitely worked a really good match last night. Willow Nightingale getting the win. Again, I definitely recommend checking this match out if you have not seen it. And then we have All Ego, Ethan Page taking on Tony Nese with Smart Mark Sterling in his corner. Ethan Page gets the win here, defeating Tony Nese. And we have the Workhorsemen, Anthony Henry and J.D. Drake, defeating the Infantry, Carly Bravo and Sean Dean, the Iron Savages, Boulder and Bronson, with Jack Jameson in their corner, and the West Coast Wrecking Crew, Jorel Nelson and Royce Isaacs. This was another one that was a very fun match. Four-way tag, a lot of times they get cluttered and a little messy, but I thought this was a very fun match. And the Workhorsemen getting the win. And you guessed it, another match recommendation. I definitely recommend checking this match out if you have not seen it. And we have another Pure Wrestling Rules match. Representing the Blackpool Combat Club, Wheeler Yuta defeating Lee Moriarty. And another one more Four Corners survival match. We have Lee Johnson defeating Fred Rosser, Jack Carville, and Willie Mack. This one, I don't know if I would say it was as good as the other Four Corner Survival, but it was still a very good match. And, of course, I recommend it. And now this is what I wanted to get to a little earlier. I mentioned, and maybe I'm just being a little nitpicky about this, but I'm sure most people already saw what happened at the tapings last week for this show when it was taped, that Ronda Rousey showed up and had a tag match. I'm sure most people already knew about it, but I'm just kind of surprised that on the actual show that they did advertise it right off the top that Ronda Rousey was competing. I thought they were going to have it be, because we've seen the Ring of Honor Women's Champion Athena in the back with Billy Starks, her minion in training, and then they put out an open challenge for anybody, and then we see as they leave Marina Shafir walk up with her phone in her hand and goes to make a call to somebody. So it even kind of looked like it was set up that way to be a mystery partner situation. I don't know if they changed their mind, like if they thought it would be a better way to boost the viewership if they advertised it ahead of time. Because like I said, I'm sure most people knew about it anyway. But the main event of Ring of Honor this week, we have the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion Athena teaming with the minion in training Billy Starks and taking on the Problem Marina Shafir and her partner Ronda Rousey, which I thought was actually a pretty entertaining match. Of course, they got the win, Rousey and Shafir. Good match, and like I said, I didn't really mean to sound like I was complaining about it. It's just that I thought they would have that more of a surprise. And yes, that is kind of hard these days with spoilers and everything getting out to have a surprise in pro wrestling. And like I said, I normally don't even talk about spoilers, but the reason that I did talk about it is because I was pretty sure most people knew about it already that night. It was out all over the internet. So when it's something as big as that, and pretty much the whole pro wrestling world, the pro wrestling community probably already knows about it, then I'll go ahead and talk about it. But that's all for this Friday morning episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm here at work now, so I better wrap up. And I'll try to remember tonight, big programming note, only Friday night SmackDown tonight. SmackDown, the only show on. And I will try to do a new episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic tonight. And tomorrow, we have, once again, just like last weekend, we have a lot of pro wrestling to watch. We have, as I mentioned, on a special Saturday night, AEW Rampage, and then AEW Saturday Collision, going head-to-head with the WWE Survivor Series Premium Live event. And like I said, I know I said this last week, and I don't know what time I'm going to be up to watching both of these shows tomorrow night, but I will try to do a live episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. And remember, I said try, so hopefully I'll be up, awake, and full of energy to talk about both shows. But I gotta run for now, and until tomorrow morning, right here on Good Morning Wrestling Fans, have a great pro wrestling day.